Kalian saya kerja kalian. Langsungnya aja. Mazin.
Sudah mekuan na yeye hapo.
Kelas berapa?
Please.
So please guys, let us be serious.
I will love you. I will love you without a million. When your friends and I will see you in the party.
Mana jama?
Memang hiyo kesi yenyewe jamaa anacheza kwa sababu.
Baba yako ni gani?
Wewe. Oh.
Moja aombe tuanze.
Wewe unasikia? Buta.
So a class which is library skills. I want to begin by appreciating one, which was an online class. I know there were a few of you challenges, courtesy of not enrolling well. I hope all of them have suffered a lot. Which I want expecting our cat two actors who completed the cat within the first 10 minutes. I think that was not a very good idea, because by so doing, one of the 9 out of 30, the other one's reward first. What we did is to take your time to go through the questions. They were tricky. So you needed to get to answer. So those who rushed through, you suffered. Take your time. Of course, you have the 45 minutes. So within 45 minutes, you should be able to calibrate how many minutes per question. Then the second thing was a group of students who, even after finishing undertaking all the 30 items, they did not submit. There is nothing I can do, because the instructions were very clear that after you submit, you should receive a message that says, "Thank you for undertaking this exam. We wish you a good day," something like that. So if you did not get to that point, then you had a problem. And a clever student does not just sit back and wait for results when you have. So the last thing you should do is to be able to submit your responses. And it is on a click of a button. And after that click, your gadget, whatever it is, if it's a phone or a laptop, should be able to give you some message telling you, "Thank you for successfully submitting. We wish you good luck," something like that. Then number 3, there were a number of you who became very clever. Thinking that you were doing the exam, you're doing your own things, getting out books and trying to find the answers. You suffered in the process. You're supposed to have this information in your mind. That is why the is open to provide information for you. Right now, it is open and documenting of sources. Those topics are available. The topics which we have learned before are also available. So the e-learning process is supposed to help you learn at any time and wherever you can be able to. So you don't have to be restricted to the classroom. So you don't have to wait for Tuesday, 11 to 2 for you to look at communication skills. You can look at communication skills at any other time of the day and even of the night, of the week, even the weekends, even on Sunday, you can look at your content. So I want to advise you, sometimes your friends may tell you that communication skills is a very easy course that you can joke around and pass. I have taught it for the past over 10 years. Now, to tell you this, it is one course that you will not pass if you not take keen interest in what you're learning, what you're learning, and if you're not careful with your exams. So let us be very careful. Get the results for Qatar. It means you have a 0 there, I will only add what you will get for your Cat 2. So you should be one of those people who are making great efforts to ensure that you perform well in Cat 2 and you perform well in the exam, to be able to balance off what you did not score in Cat 1. So skills, and how we'll proceed. We'll proceed by looking at the types of libraries. We'll look at library services. We'll look at how materials are organized and the sections of an academic library. We'll look at classifications of materials, cataloging, and all those aspects of the call number.
This meeting is being recorded.
We will look at how you can locate a book in the Kibu library. Then we'll look at aspects of documenting sources, specifically using the APA referencing system. Now, a library has been defined in various ways. Actually, there exists a lot of definitions of what a library is. But the best definition I like is the last one that says, a library is an information center where book and non-book material are stored for use by library users. So it is an information center. It's a place where you get all manner of information captured in the form of books and non-book materials, that is journals. It could be in the form of CDs, films, and all that kind of thing. The books could be in the form of hard copy textbooks or e-books. These are all found in a library. These other definitions also seem to say quite close to what we're talking about. Look at definition number 2. It says a library is a building or a room containing collection of books, periodicals, sometimes films, and recorded music for use or borrowing by the public or the members of an institution. So basically what these definitions to agree is that a library is a place where there will be a collection of information, a collection of sources of information. And they are not just collected there for no apparent reason, but they are collected there for borrowing and for use by library users. So that means that if we are talking about the Kibu Library, for example, it is an information center. It is not just there for decoration to be called an information center. It is validated by the presence of library users. And so as an of these institutions, you find choose them in terms of developing your knowledge base. Now, libraries exist in a number of types. We have what we call the national. These are also called reference libraries. They are in some of the major towns, like I know of one that is in Nairobi, it's a national library. And this library is charged with that book, a copy of it must be deposited with the National Library of Kenya. The intention, a resource, or we have a kind of a resource base of all the information, all the books that have been published in this land. Then we have what we call public libraries, and these are funded by the public. We have these in major cities, like I know there is one in Nairobi, one in Sure, they are soon going to be developed in other major towns, and these are open to the public. Again, they contain information, materials from a variety of subject areas. Then we have the special libraries. These contain materials that are of a limited field of knowledge. For example, a library that has materials related to finance. So you'll find there books that are addressing the issue of finances. You can have libraries containing material, let us say, on aviation. That would be a library that has all the materials that relate to the field of aviation. So institutions in Kenya have these libraries, like the institutions like KUC111, ILRAD, research have the extra libraries. We have what we call the private libraries, that is, and they contain materials that are of interest to those indigenous researchers in Kenya. A researcher in the area of HIV and AIDS. He has his own special library where he has collected all the information related to the study, the research, the publications around AIDS. There are people who, if you go to their homes, you find libraries, private libraries in their houses. And these libraries will not contain just anything. They will contain materials that are of interest to the owner of the libraries. But library these are libraries that are associated with, it is a library that is associated with this institution that offers services, and I'm sure you have ever found an opportunity to visit. This was some time ago, before it was beautified to the level where it is. Of library, we have section library that is used for this particular the library. I want us to look at the services. A library will provide Sina flashing. We're having some challenges, but we are back. I was saying that we have a number of services that are offered by a library, and I had mentioned the quiet reading environment, that a library stores books and non-book materials for users who are me and you. A library is supposed to offer lending services. That means you can borrow books from a library. You may not borrow books from me, but you can borrow books from the library. Another service is that having challenges. Why is someone thinking I should postpone the class? Do you think you can see anything, Magda? Hapo we also find reprographic service. That means that you can borrow either for the evening and return the book the next morning. And usually this is in agreement with the library procedures. So I'm sure you were taken through this information when you reported in the course of your orientation. You were told that there's some materials which you can only borrow overnight. These are found in the short loan section. If you go to our Kibabi library, behind the officer who issues you books, you'll see there a lot of book materials. Those materials are on short loan section, they're on short loan. Then we have the long loan section. These are the materials found in the shelves. These are materials which you can borrow for up to 2 weeks after you have been issued by the library staff. Then we have the reference section where you find material which you can only refer to while in the library. And once you leave the library, you have to leave them inside the library. These are materials like a Bible, a map, it could be a Quran, it could be a dictionary, an encyclopedia, an almanac, and such kind of materials. These can only be referred to in the library. In fact, you may not even take them to the reading desk. You can only look at them from the shelf. Then we have the Africana section, and this contains all the publications that have been done by staff or students of the institution. Like if you go to our Africana section, you'll find there thesis materials that have been donated by our lecturers. You'll find there Professor Ipara Odeo's PhD thesis. You'll find there the work that was done by students in terms of their projects, the project reports, what our masters and PhD students have written in terms of their thesis for examination. So you'll find them in the Africana section. And sometimes our lecturers may publish books and they may publish storybooks. They are also put in the Africana section. Then we have the children's section, and this is where the children materials are domiciled. Sometimes in the course of our teachings in the English department, in the Swahili, we make reference to children books or children materials. So these are found in the children's section. We also have children who visit that section, children of staff who stay on the compound, and also children who can come around and perhaps they're related to members of this institution. They can have access to the children's section where they find storybooks, textbooks related to their education, perhaps at primary, secondary school level. Then we have the periodical section, and this one contains materials that are published on periodically, like magazines, journals, newspapers. They are found in the periodical section. Newspapers for as late as when this university was began can be found there, bound in certain orderly way, so that you can find newspapers of about 3 months have been put together to form a document which you can then make reference to. Then finally, we have the reprographic section, and I say this section is found at the bottom of in the basement of the library, and it offers photographing services. You can do binding services. You can do what? You can do scanning services in our reprographic section. Now, the library is a place where one is supposed to get materials easily and be able to go on with the business of reading. So the library staff have made sure that you spend minimal time looking for the material you want and maximum time reading it. And this has been done through a number of ways. 3 of them to be specific. We have classification systems, we have catalogs, and the call numbers. So a library classification system is a way of coding and organizing library materials to enable easy access. So it's a system of coding. And we have a number of classification systems, but the 2 most common are, number 1, the Dewey Decimal Classification, which is also abbreviated as DDC. It is a system that was developed by someone called Melvin Dewey, and it is a numerical system where materials are classified under 10 major classes. And then below that, we have 10 divisions, and then 10 subdivisions are under branches of knowledge. If you go to the e-learning platform under the topic library skills, you will see how this has been broken down. And I wish to encourage you to do that. So number 1, we have the Dewey Decimal Classification System. We have said it is a numerical system, or it makes use of numerals, where materials are divided into 10 major classes or branches of knowledge. Then the second classification is the Library of Congress classification. This is an American system where knowledge is divided into 21 basic classes using letters of the alphabet. And then later on, these are broken down into further either 2 letters of the alphabet or 3, like that. Again, if you go to our notes, or to the notes on the library, in the e-learning platform, I have given you how this has been done. Now, the task I want to give you today is I want you to visit the Kibabi University Library, and I want you to be able to establish the classification system used in the Kibu Library. And even give reasons why you are saying it's either a Dewey Decimal Classification or the Library of Congress classification. So how do you establish the classification that is used in the library? You will do that by looking at the spine of the shelves. When you go to the library, at the top of the shelves, the spine of the shelf, you will find there some numbering. It could be a numbering or it could be a lettering. So find out which one has been used, and then come to the conclusion of why you think That is the classification used by Kibabi University Library. And you can do that with a friend, you can do that alone, but make sure that today you are able to establish which classification system is used by the Kibu University Library. So we have said one of the ways in which materials are organized in the Kibabi Library is by use of the classification system. The second way in which materials are organized is by the use of catalogs. And a catalog is a complete list of all printed materials available and stocked in the library. So it is a list. So all the materials in Kibabi University Library, which go into thousands and thousands of books, they are all recorded in a catalog. So if you went to the library today, you would be able to see all the books that are available and stocked in the Kibu Library. And these materials are organized in the following ways. They are either organized by author catalog. That means the lists are organized according to the author's surname. For example, if I've written a book, then it will be organized as Simiyu I. So all those books that have the name Simiyu will be classified together, and like that, according to the alphabet. So we expect the first book on the catalog using the author will have the letter R. So anybody called Akinyi, Awor, or something like that, and who has written a book that is stocked in Kibabi University Library will be among the first in the author catalog. Then we have the title catalog, which has to do with the title of the book. If I have written a book called Communication Skills for Institutions of Higher Learning, then if you click on the title catalog, under letter C, you will find Communication Skills for Institutions of Higher Learning. Then the third one is the subject catalog, and this has to do with the information area. For example, the information area of communication skills. So if the catalog, if you were to access this catalog, you'll find materials under the subject matter. So communication skills is an area, and therefore you'll find materials under C or letter C. Books will continue. You'll have books like computer skills or computer science or cooking skills or cooking in Africa or cooking African dishes. Because of the letter C, that is where you'll find the material having been listed in catalog. Then we have forms of catalogs, and we have two major forms. We have the card and the computer. The card catalog is still used in some libraries. It includes some small brief cards on which information about a book is written. And this is filed or put together so that if you want a book on a certain topic or by a certain author, then you look for the card that has the name of that book, then you'll be able to locate the book. The most recent developments in the area of catalogs is the computer catalogs, and the computer catalog is found inside a computer terminal that is usually located in the library. For example, in our Kibabi library, we use the computerized catalog, and it is found in the two terminals that are found in the library. So once you enter the Kibabi University Library, ahead of you, you will see two computer terminals. Those are our computer catalogs, and rate under what we call the OPAC system. Our task today is to find out the meaning of OPAC and how it works. You can do that by visiting the library. You can do that by referring to library information, especially the Kibabi University Library information, to find out what OPAC means in full. Opaque, what opaque means in full and how it operates. Now, the third way in which materials are organized is by the use of call numbers. And this is a group of numbers or letters that are found on the spine of every book in the library. If you went to Kibabi University Library, the first thing you come across once you face the shelf will be the spine of the book. At the bottom of the spine, you'll see a group of numbers or a group of letters. This is what we call the call numbers. And these are short forms which the library staff have created to help you be able to locate a book. They include the year of publication. They include the surname of the author or the initials of the author's names. They will include the number of copies of the book in the library, and they will include the subject area in which the material is from. And this organization is intended to assist you find the book in the library with ease, so that you don't spend a lot of time looking for materials. Because the library is a world of books, it is important for you to have a way in which you can easily access materials, and also a way in which the library staff can easily return borrowed materials to the right sections of the shelf, and also to provide orderly arrangement of materials on the shelves. So that is why we have what we call the call numbers, to ease your life as a student, to help the library staff be able to return the books in order, and also to ensure there is orderly arrangement of materials. So how can you locate a book in the Kibu library? I am sure you've been able to do that before, but I want to tell you that if you're to locate a book in the Kibabi University Library, then you need to locate the computerized catalog that is located immediately in front of you when you enter the library. Ahead of you, you will see the two terminals. Then you need to have some bit of information about the book you're looking for. Either you know the subject area. Let us say the subject area is physics. So you have the name physics, which you can then enter into the computer terminal. Or you should have the surname of the author of the book you wish to find, so that you now can key in that surname. Or you should have the title of the text. So if you know the title of the text and perhaps you don't know the name of the author, or you have the title and you cannot remember the subject area, then you can key in the title and it will give you a number of hits. These hits are what the library contains in terms of a book with that name, a book with that title, or a book in that subject area. Then you can select. Let us say you're not very sure which one you want. Then you can write down the call numbers of a number of those books so that you can then visit the shelf. I've already told you the call number will be found on the spine of the book. At the bottom of the spine, you'll find there a series of numbers and letters. So that is the information you'll copy from the computer's terminal. Then you visit the shelf. So guided by the call numbers, locate the text and proceed to the issue desk for clearance. Let us say you went to the shelf and you were unable to find the material. Then seek guidance from the library staff, because the book could either be borrowed, the book could have been read by someone who read it in the library and left it there. So you need to establish that. In the event that the book was borrowed, then you can find out when it will be returned so that you can book to be able to be considered when the material is returned. So that is the procedure. So you'll not go to the library staff and say, I want this book. You need to use the OPAC system to locate your material and then proceed to the shelf now to be able to find clearance. Now, how do you know which source is good for you or which material is good for you? There are a number of things that can guide you or places where you can check. Number one, check the book cover. The book cover is rich in terms of information. It will have the blurb at the back of the book. This is a kind of a summary of what the book contains. You could also find information about the author of the book from the cover of the textbook. Also, sometimes people make referees, they make references, they review a work and they write their comments on the cover of the book. So it will help you to know how good, how authoritative the author is in terms of what they have written. Look at the title page. It will help you also to get an idea of what is contained in the book. Then we have what we call a preface or foreword. This is usually information written by someone else who knows the author or who knows the material that is captured in the book. So they write a kind of a summary. They write to encourage readers on what they're likely to find and on the authority of the author. Look at the table of contents. The table of content gives you a breakdown of the areas that will be covered by the text. Sometimes you may find that a textbook covers everything that you want. Sometimes it may cover just a small fraction of what you require. Look at the introduction. Most textbooks will have a kind of an introduction where the author writes about what they have captured inside the textbook. So read that also to help you get an idea of what you're going to meet as you read. Then we have the glossary, we have the appendix, and we have the index. These are key areas of the book found in the last pages of the book. They provide information about certain information inside the text. Let us say you have a picture or a map. You will be able to find how to locate it from the index. A picture or a map inside the book, you'll find information. You'll also find some definition of key terms. Some of them could be technical terms, but they are found in the glossary. There could be a map or a picture that was not attached inside the book, but which is provided for in the last pages of the textbook. So those are areas that you need to check. And once you get the book, again, you need to consider how relevant is the book to the area you are seeking to understand. Because books are written addressing certain different subjects. So is it relevant to the area? How up to date is it? You want material that has very current information. You don't want to read material that was published way back in the 60s. And in between here, knowledge has been transformed, knowledge has grown, certain ideas that were acceptable then were discarded, and new things have come up. So you want up-to-date information. So look at when was the material published. The date, the year of publication should help you to know how up-to-date the material is. Look at the credibility of the author and the publisher. You're likely to get this from the back of the book, the reviewers, the people who have something to say. Perhaps a book was recommended to you by your lecturer. That is a mark of credibility, that your lecturer has found that material and that author a credible source of information which they are recommending to you. Look at the book's popularity. How many people have talked about it? How has your lecturer even talked about it? That is a mark of the popularity. Then finally, the presentation of the materials. Are there pictures that could help you understand? Are there maps, photographs that could help you understand information? How has the material been presented in a book? Do we have subtitles, titles? What is the font size that has been used in the preparation of the material? So all this information is useful in helping you decide about a book. Now, we usually will go to the library either to read for building of our information base. We sometimes go there because we want to collect information that is relevant for a class task. Perhaps the lecturer sent you because they want you to find information regarding some information and that which is found in a textbook. Now, once you've found the information and you want to make use of that information in writing your term paper, in writing your assignment, it is important that you go about it in the right manner. So in the world of academics, we talk about documenting sources. And this is with the intention of avoiding something called plagiarism. We'll be talking about plagiarism later. But anytime you get material from someone else, they have put in hours of research, they have organized this material so that you can be able to see it. It is important for you to acknowledge the people who have written. And so documenting sources involves making reference to the author and their work. And with these three basic reasons, we document in order to let the reader know whose materials or whose ideas you're using. You cannot be the author of all the information. A lot of information has been written, a lot of research has been done, so much has come up. So you cannot say that you are the author of information. We borrow a lot from what others have written, but as we borrow, we also acknowledge and document this. We have said, number one, to help the reader to know whose ideas we are using. Number two, to help the reader to check this information for themselves. If they want to follow you and find out what are you saying, what is right, are you actually, was this information actually from this source? They can do that because of the way you have documented information. And number three, to provide information for your reader. Your reader requires information that has been researched, that has been that is believable. They do not just want stories. You see, when we were doing our writing in secondary school and even in primary school, many times we did creative writing. But when you come to the level of writing at a higher institution, you write facts, you write factually. And when you're writing facts, it is because you have been able to see these facts from what other people have written, what other people have found out. And so you are providing information to your reader, information that is factual, information that can be believable, and that can be used to inform knowledge. So citation is what we do. And a citation is a reference which we put inside a document. It includes all the details that will help to trace the document. So you have read a book in the library, you read a book in your own house, but once you have written the paper, your lecturer should be able to trace where you got this information. And what you'll be doing is citation. You are referring to that book. Usually at the end of your paper, we have what we call the reference list. And it contains information about all the books, all the journals, and all the other information sources you used to be able to get information. And so what is a bibliography? It is a list of materials cited in a written work. It shows the authority on which you base your statements. It shows how well you are read. It is a starting point for anyone who wants to find out about the subject. So for your lecturer to know how well read you are in that area, they will look at the people you have read, the materials you have read, and how you have cited them. That is how they are able to establish that you have actually researched in order to come up with a good paper. Now we have a number of citation styles, but the most used is the APA. APA is short form for American Psychological Association. They came up with a citation style that provides rules and regulations that you can use in the process of citing materials or sources of your information. Currently, the APA is in its 7th edition. So if you go online and you Google APA 7th edition, you'll be able to find it. It provides the up-to-date standards, rules, and regulations that are expected when you're doing citation. A paper is only complete when you have provided your citations, when you have provided your reference area. So we have citations at 2 levels. We have what we call the in-text citation, where you give information about the author, that is the author's surname, then the year of publication, and the page number. That is in-text citation, and you'll put this information in brackets. Then we have what we call the reference list. This one will have the following information. It will have this, it will have the surname and initial of the author's names. It will have the title of the material. It will have the publication details, that is the year of publication. It will have the place of publication of the material. I want us to look at this, the use of APA in a practical paper. We will not look at the whole paper, we'll look at the reference page for this paper. The paper was on teacher professional development among teachers of English. So that was the focus for the paper. And we want to see how this writer made use of APA. When the writer had a single author or had a material that had a single author, this is how they did the referencing. They had the surname of the author, and the surname of the author is Day. This is separated with a comma, and then the initials of the author's other names, which is a capital C, and then the full stop. Then we have the year of publication in brackets. The year is 1999. Then we have the title of the material. And the title of the material is Developing Teachers, the Challenge of Lifelong Learning. This material was published in a city called London and published by a publishing firm called Routledge Falmer. So this is what I want you to note, that when we're doing the APA referencing, we begin with the surname of the author. Then we have a comma. Then initials of the author's names, we have a full stop. Then we have the year of publication in brackets, full stop. Then this is followed by the title of the material. Now, if it is in an exam, I'll not expect you to write in italics. I'll expect you to underline the title of the text. So if you are writing in using your handwriting, the words developing teachers, the challenge of lifelong learning will then be underlined. For me, then I'll know that what you have underlined is the title of your text. Then we have a full stop. Then we give the city of publication. Between the city and the publisher, we have the full colon. then a full stop. So let us say we have a text with two authors. Like this one of the authors is called Broad, and their initial is K. Then we have Evans, and their initial is M. So we'll separate the two authors using the affixed, that is that symbol and in between. So we have Broad, comma, K, full stop. Then we have the affixed. Then we have Evans, comma, capital M, full stop. Our year of publication is 2006 in brackets, full stop. Then we have the title of the text, a review of literature on professional development content and delivery modes for experienced teachers. Again, I've said if you were writing in an exam, that title will be underlined. But if you are typing an assignment for submission, then that title is in italics. This material was published by University of Toronto in a city called Ontario. And you can see the punctuation. So I want you to be very keen about the punctuation marks, the commas, the full stop, the affixed, and the full colon. Let us say, student, that you have three authors. Then we'll have the first two authors like this. We have first author Duncan, comma, T, full stop, and then comma. I want you to note that. Let me expand this so you can see it much better. So we have Duncan, comma, T, full stop, comma. That is the first order. Then we go to the second order. The second order is when you, comma, initial L, full stop, comma. Then we have the third order called Carlos, then comma, and then initial and full stop, and then we have the affixed. Then we have the last order, sharply, comma, capital L, that is the initials of his names, that is L, full stop, K, full stop, before we get to the year of publication. I want you to note very keenly that this book has more than three authors. We have Duncan, we have When You, we have Carlos, and we have Shapley. Let us say we had four authors. Then we would do the same until we get to the second last author. Then we put there an affixed, and then we put the last author, and then we put the year of publication. So again, this is a document that was retrieved from the internet. So we have information regarding when it was retrieved, where it was retrieved from, and it was a journal article. Let us look at other examples. In the event that you have a book with an edition, a book usually has an edition because it has been reviewed. So it has a first edition, a second edition. This particular book we're looking at has 7 editions. That means it has been viewed 7 times. It is a book with 3 authors. We have Cohen, Mannion, and Morrison, published in the year 2011. The title is Research Methods in Education, and it is a 7th edition. Now, students, I want you to note that we put the edition after the title of the text. That is where we put the edition, and we put the edition in some abbreviated form so that we have 7th ED. ED there stands for edition, 7th edition, and we put that information in brackets. Let us say we have a book with a chapter. That means it is a book with several chapters, and each chapter has its own title and its own authors. So we want we have cited, or we were able to read only one particular chapter, which we were interested in. And so we want to cite that chapter inside a book. So the chapter we are citing is one that was written by someone called Nemsa. So Nemsa, comma, S, full stop, F, full stop. The year is 1983. The title of the chapter is Learning to Teach. Now this chapter is inside a book. So when we begin to cite when we begin to provide information about the book where the chapter is contained, then we will go like this in, then we begin with the surname, but this time the surname is abbreviated. So that L there is the surname and Akas is their first name. And there were two of them and they were editors. Because they were editors, we put in brackets EDS to show editors. Then we give the name of the book, and the book is a handbook of teaching and policy. Because this chapter is contained within certain specific pages, we must give those pages. So we have 34 to 48. The book was published in New York by Longman Inclusions. So in this new reference, you can see that we have a book. We have a book, and then we have cited only a chapter, one chapter, because we are not interested in the other chapters. We have cited the pages within which the chapter is found. Sometimes when you go to the library, you could find a book that has been edited, meaning several people came together to write the book, but only one person went through all those materials or those chapters, and therefore they are called the editor. Now, when we have a book with an editor, we put the title editor after the initials of the editor's name. So here, Hayes is our editor. So Hayes is his surname, D full stop, and then we have ED in brackets. Students, take note that when we had the 7th edition, or when we were talking about a book with an edition, the ED was small. That means edition. When it is the editor, the E is capital. And it also has S. Only one person, then it is E. We move on to the title, the city of publication, and the publisher. I want us to go on to we have a conference paper. We read a conference paper and we found there certain information which we used in our to document that information. Now, we have the surname of the author. We have the initials of the author's names. We have the year of publication. We have the title of that presentation. And then we now say where the publication was done and the date when it was done in the year. So for example here, Halai is the author, A is her other name. In the year 2006, she made a plenary address entitled Ethics in Qualitative Research, Issues and Challenges. This was a plenary address during the multidisciplinary qualitative research in developing countries given at Karachi University on the 4th of November 2006. So all that information is captured to help any person who wants to locate that information. Perhaps they want to read more about what Halai said, and they'll find it by going, because I'm sure Karachi University had many conferences or meetings, even in the year 2006, or perhaps even in the month of November. But we want this particular one, so we must capture the day, the month, and the year. Let us say you have gone to Kibabi University Library, you have visited the Africana section, and you have found there a master's degree thesis that was given to one of our former students, that was awarded, or that was written by one of our master students, and you have found there information which you want to use. That one is called an unpublished master's thesis. And this is how you go about documenting it. You have the surname of the author, the initials of the author's names, the year of publication, the title of the material, where it was published, that is the city where it was published. So we have Juma EW 2016, utilization of instructional material, instructional media to enhance students' learning of English in Bungoma North District Secondary Schools, Bungoma County, Kenya. It is an unpublished MA thesis of Kenyatta University. So if you go to Kenyatta University Library, you will find this thesis. So if you come to Kibabi University Library, you'll find theses that have been written by our students. You can also have unpublished PhD thesis. Again, you will go in the same way. For example, we have this one of Lelyveld, MJ, 2006, entitled Search for a Model of Characteristics of Effective Professional Development, an unpublished doctoral dissertation, Leiden University in the Netherlands. I hope you are seeing how the citation is being done. Let us say you went to the library and you were able to access a journal. You found information in that journal that was useful for your write-up. So when we are doing a journal citation, a slight difference. We will have initials of the author's names, the year of publication. Unlike a text where we will put the title of the text in italics or underline them, when we're citing a journal, we do not underline the title of the journal. So we just leave it like that. But what we underline is the title of the journal itself. And you can see that here it is in italics. Then after that, we have the issue number, no, the volume number, because journals are published over a specific time, and we have several volumes and several issues. So this is volume number 26, issue number 2. And then because in a journal, we can have a number of articles. This specific one, this one that we have given the title, it is found within these particular pages. So Bredezon, VP, 2000, the school principal's role in teacher professional development is found in the Journal of In-Service Education, volume 26, issue number 2, pages 385 to 401. So you will notice there is a difference in the citation of a journal article as opposed to that one of a text. If you have accessed a document online or on the World Wide Web that is called www, because you're likely to find there an article that will be of interest. When you're citing it, you give again the surname of the authors, the year of publication, the title of the document, and the HTTP where you have found it. So for example, here we have Cochran Smith, M, and Little SL, 2002, Teacher Learning Communities, Teacher Learning and the New Professional Development Community, retrieved from http:// these two slashes, education.state-university.com/pages/248/teacher-learning-communities.html. The beauty about this, if you're writing using a computer, the computer will immediately notice this link and it will underline it by itself. So it becomes an active link. Now, why should we do all this citation? Why should we document? We document because we want to avoid something called plagiarism. And what is plagiarism? It is the act of presenting another person's work or ideas as your own. In other words, it is what we call academic theft. Someone has taken their time, they have spent their energy to look for information and put it together, and you come easily and you copy and you paste it, and you pretend that it is your work. That is called plagiarism. It is unacceptable in the academic circles. Now that you have become an academician, it's important for you to know that if you plagiarize, that will not be acceptable. And your lecturer is able to quickly establish when you have plagiarized. Plagiarized information does not read like your own work. It reads differently. Any seasoned scholar will be able to tell information that is plagiarized. So ensure that every time you have information that is not your own, which, for example, you have summarized, or which you have paraphrased, or which you have included in your write-up, that you acknowledge this by citation. And I've provided a lot of guidance in my notes. Just go to the e-learning platform, you'll see what this means. So how can you avoid plagiarism? The first thing you can do is to keep sources in the correct context. Whenever you contact a source or you consult a source, whether it is a textbook, it's a journal, every time make sure that you understand the context of the ideas and the context of the source itself, so that when you're using it with some kind of knowledge. Another thing you can do is always search for sources. Don't just pick notes and put them there. Search for information. Number 3, don't cut and paste. Always take time to either summarize this information you have found, to paraphrase the information you have found, to understand the information so that you can now use it inside your work. Do not produce information verbatim. Number 4, keep your sources. When you have read a book, within 2 weeks, you are expected to return it to the library. And getting that book again may be a challenge. You may leave or find it. So the best thing you can do is that every time you have read a book and you found information, copy down information about the book. That is, copy down the surname of the author, the initials of the author's names, copy down the year of publication, copy down the title of the book, copy down the city of publication, copy down the publisher. If there is some specific information you want to cite, you want to take as a direct quote, then put down the page number where that information is found. And then the rest of the information, paraphrase it. So that every time you want to go back and find out, did I find this information, you have it written down. What that means is, when you are researching for information, always have an exercise book where you are writing. You don't just read a textbook like a storybook. You must also have a way of capturing information about the textbook and information that you want to quote. Keep a trail of your sources. Did you find this as a textbook? Did you find it as an electronic material? Did you find it as a journal article? Did you find it online? Keep track. And in so doing, you avoid plagiarism. Usually plagiarism can be penalized by your lecturer, or you can be punished for it if you're doing it, let us say, at the master's or PhD level. So ensure that you are able to do this, to keep track of the information you have found. So with that, I want to request that the remaining 1 hour of our lesson be used in going to the e-learning platform. I have made available to you the topic on library skills. I've also opened the topic on documenting sources. It is available. You can read and make notes. So with that, I want to wish you a nice week. Let's meet next time, God giving us grace.